Welcome back. This movie is going to be on sections 1.4 and 1.5. 1.4 and 1.5 are different, but they both connect to the overall theme of algebraic patterns. And so what these two sections are going to do is they're going to connect equations, which you learned about already, equations with variables, to graphing, and also equations to tables. And then finally, we're going to connect those three objects together, those three items together. So we're going to be going from equations to graphs to tables, and we're going to learn how to go between each of them. So section 1.4 though was just on coordinate graphing. So this is going to be a pretty quick lesson because this is stuff that you've done before. With coordinate graphing, what we're doing is coordinate graphing was started because if you have a flat surface like this and you want to locate a dot on that surface, you need a way to locate that dot. And for us, we would probably say, if we're just looking at this picture, you'd say it's about midway up and like maybe 1/3 of the way over on the part of the screen that you can see. And that is a way of graphing something. Now let me explain to you what graphing has become now. Graphing has become a grid, which we know as the coordinate plane, or some people might call it the Cartesian plane. And this coordinate plane says that we have two lines. Y goes up and down, and X goes left to right. So you have horizontal line and vertical line. And you use these two lines to decide exactly where the dot is. Now each of these lines has dashes along the line, which are a certain distance apart from each other. So X here, I'm putting a dash about equal distances away from each other. We're going to say that each dash equals about 1. And same with Y. And so you get it. So your dash is going across and up. And to locate this dot, you'd say, I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4 dashes. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dashes. And so this would be at spot 4 over and 5 up. And so your x coordinate is 4 because you go up 4 on the x-axis. And your y coordinate is 5 because you go up 5 on the y. And we put it into this format where we have a comma in between them. So whenever you see a coordinate pair like this, you should know that the first number is your x value. And the second number is your y value. So you could put any dot somewhere on this coordinate plane, and you would be able to locate it using one of these parentheses number comma number parenthesis form of a coordinate point. Now what's unique about this is that we have 0.00 right here, which is at the very center of the plane. And if you go this direction or you go this direction, you're going into the negatives. So you end up with a graph with 4 areas on it. Up and down is the y-axis, left and right is the x-axis. And so if you have a point in this area up here, and this is your first coordinate, so coordinate number 1, or quadrant rather. So this is quadrant number 1, which you'll have to know. Quadrant number 1 is going to have points which are positive. Both x and y are positive. So if you have parenthesis, number, comma, number, parenthesis, both numbers are going to be positive numbers. Over here, which we consider quadrant number 2, you go negative down the x-axis, So you're going to have a negative number there. But you're still going positive up the y-axis, so you have a positive number there. Quadrant number 3, which is down here, says that we're going negative on the x. And now we're going negative. We're going to go down the y-axis. So both of your coordinates are going to be negatives. So we have negative, comma, negative. So both numbers would be negative. And then over here, quadrant number 4, we're going to have a positive x. So we're going in the positive direction that way. And we have a negative y, because y is in the negative direction. So wherever you place a dot on this quadrant plane, or the coordinate plane, that dot, if it's in this area, will be have positive coordinates. This area, all negative coordinates. And yeah, you can see how that works out. And so now I'm going to give you the exact wording for your definitions. Thank you for being patient. And I'll say them, and what I want you to do is when I say them, I'll give you a pause, or you can press pause on the YouTube video, and then write them down, and then you keep going. So the first definition that I want you to know is coordinate plane. Coordinate plane. So a coordinate plane is a plane where we map coordinates. An ordered pair. An ordered pair is the coordinates we map. And next to that, you can write x, comma, y. Your x value goes in there, your y value goes in there. Those are numbers. Next, we have quadrant. Quadrants, and all you have to write next to quadrant is 4 quadrants in a plane. So there are 4 quadrants in a plane. And then in the figure next to it, where you have the 2 lines, you'll label them like I did earlier. Where you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you'll label each section of the of the coordinate plane that way. And the next one, x-axis, you define it as the horizontal axis. And you can also label it here on your figure. The next one, y-axis, you define as the vertical axis. And you can label it right here, above the vertical line. And then lastly, the origin is the dot in the center, or as I want you to write down, I want you to write next to this dot, I want you to write 0, 0. And so fit this 0, 0 in right there next to the dot on your figure. That is the definition of the origin, point 0, 0. So try out the example on your own. Graph the following equation by substituting the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 into x. And what that'll look like is you'll put in an x value into the equation. And so if it's x minus 2 equals y, when you put a 3 in for x, so when x is 3, then 3 minus 2 equals 1, so therefore y is 1. And you continue to go down. If x is 2, 2 minus 2 is 0. And so you can choose your x values, figure out what your y values are. And once you know these, when x is 3, y is 1. When x is 2, y is 0, you can graph those. And the way you graph them is each one of these right here is a coordinate pair. So you can draw in the parentheses with the comma in between. You point 3 x-axis, 1 y-axis. So you graph all the ones that you draw. So I got you started there. I want you to finish it. you need to use numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, enjoy.